Today I'm going to talk about how I deal with depression and anxiety. What's crazy is I used to think growing up, I remember I had a friend that I went to school with, and rest in peace, but his older brother ended up committing suicide. And at the service for him, the pastor kept talking about he was suffering from a disease. And my opinion at this point in time when I was maybe 14, 15, 16 was just, that's not a real thing. Like he was a pussy, man, just because you're having a hard day, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize, right? I was too young. Fast forward today, I'm 34 years old, and different people have went through different things, right? But I feel like me personally, I've went through things that have caused me to, be in some hard places. So I want to talk about things that I've done with dealing with my own depression and anxiety. The first and the most important step in the process is to figure out why you're depressed. Most of the times that I'm depressed or dealing with anxiety and stuff is because it's a certain level of uncertainty that I have. So I think being in tune with yourself, and I'm big on like self-awareness. I think self-awareness is one of the most important traits that anyone can have, right? Because you got to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, then you know who you are not. And once you know who you are and who you are not, life just becomes more simple, right? Because you're like, this is who I am. This is what I want. I don't want that because that's not me, right? This is me. It's an identity thing. So once you know who you are, then you're also going to know your strengths and weaknesses. And then usually when your weaknesses start to get the best of you, that's when it can lead to like, man, things aren't going well. Bad thing. Next thing you know, you don't really want to get out of bed because you're feeling really depressed and you have some anxiety, right? So what I found was like depression is kind of dwelling on things of like the present or the past, and then anxiety is worrying about things in the future. Step one is always figuring out why. I can only speak for myself. 9 times out of 10, it's usually one day I feel like I have it all figured out. Like I have the world in the palm of my hands, and it's like, let's go get it. And I'm uplifting anyone and everyone around me. I'm the light in the room. I'm big on that. I always want to be the light. I want to be positive, right? I hate Debbie Downers. If you're a Debbie Downer, stay the fuck away from me. But I want to be positive. And 9 times out of 10, I have everything figured out. I feel like I'm in control. I'm the one driving the car. I'm not in the back seat. Just, buckled in for the ride. I have control of the situation. This is just like a recent discovery for me too, because recently I've been fucking depressed. What I found was a bad day or a bad time is usually when I don't feel like I'm in control. And if I'm not in control, then it's like, it's not like there's people in a lab right now working on figuring this shit out for me. It's like, it's on me. I have to figure this stuff out. I'm lost. I feel stressed and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't have control. Yesterday, I felt like I knew exactly what I was doing. And today I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. So for me, it's like, figure out why. And once you've addressed what it is that's bothering you, the next step would be to ask yourself, is this something that I have control of, or is this something that I have no control of? And maybe you have some anxiety and you're worrying about what this person may or may not do. And then you have to realize like, I can't control what they do. I can't control what they think. I can't control what they say. It's out of my control. I'm gonna let go and let God. Now, if it's something that you can control, now, we move on to these next steps, right? So if it's something that you can't control, fuck it, man. You gotta let that shit go. First, let's talk about like the common sense things that are very obvious that you should be doing, right? If you study any type of happiness, what you should be doing in life, what these millionaires, day in the life, their morning routine, things like that they do, it's like, okay, one of the first things is like, getting physical, like exercising, doing some sort of form of exercise, right? I remember reading one of the times when I was depressed and I was actually considering getting on like anti-depression medicine. There was an article that I was reading. It was talking about like, how when you exercise, endorphins are released in your brain. And they were saying that the amount of endorphins released in your brain, that's like Miracle Grow, happy antidepressant drugs that like are naturally released. So I would say if you feel depressed, one of the best things that you can do is exercise. And then maybe it's, a little chapter for a few days or a week or a month, whatever it is, where you might get really active and maybe you start exercising twice a day or 3 times a day. Because it was at a time where I realized like, I kind of let myself go. I don't feel in shape. And at the same time, I'm depressed. I need that miracle grow for my brain. I want to be happier. And at the same time, I want to improve my physique. So I'm like, this is no brainer. I'm going to start exercising twice a day. And so getting physical. And you may be thinking, how do I do that if I don't feel like it? Go through the motions to create the emotions. A lot of it is just showing up. If you get in your car, maybe you put on like your walking shoes or your running shoes, your exercise shoes or whatever. That's like step one of like taking a step closer to like exercising. And then the next step may be, changing your clothes or changing out your work clothes and putting on, your workout clothes, whatever. And then getting in the car to drive to the gym. Once you're in the gym, I can't tell you how many times I've sat in the parking lot and just thought to myself, I have zero desire, right? But then I think, it's like, what should I be doing? I know I'm supposed to work out. And then I'll think to myself, have you ever went to the gym and not felt like working out and then afterwards regretted it? And was like, oh, that was a stupid idea to exercise. Like, no. 100% of the time that I've went to the gym, I've always felt better about myself after. So I think that's going to be your quickest, easiest win is to do something physical. And it could just be walking, like going outside walking. The next step is going to be like nutrition, because they say you are what you eat. There's times where like my anxiety or depression gets out of control. And it's usually when I'm like out of town or traveling for music videos and stuff like that. And, I try to eat, smart decisions on the food that I eat and stuff and like the healthier options 70% of the time, right? But I've noticed that, like, let's say I ate a whole bunch of candy right now, either later on tonight or after, like I'm gonna have this brain fog. I can't really think straight. Yeah, and that's another, like a little side note. I seen Dr. Jordan Peterson. He had a video talking about advice for people dealing with anxiety or overthinking or being overwhelmed throughout the day. He said what he found from most of his patients it was this, by simply starting the day with a big breakfast. He said, even if you're not hungry, you're going to have a big breakfast that's high in protein and fat and no carbs for breakfast. He said, even if you're not hungry, start your day with that. He found that majority of his patients that were dealing with like anxiety throughout the day and overthinking and stuff like that alone fixed majority of their problems, right? So I would say for like 6 weeks now, every morning I make 3 whole eggs. And then we have these like turkey sausage links, and I'll make probably 2 of those with it, throw in some diced peppers, and I put like a 2% cheese, like the cheese squares on top, and I put a little bit of hot sauce, and I eat that for breakfast every single day. Big glass of water. So like the nutrition side of things, just notice like, could I possibly eat a little bit better for the rest of the day or tomorrow? You're like, okay, yep, I'm gonna put my best foot forward and apply that. Then the next thing is like sleep. Like when people are grumpy, they haven't had enough sleep. Well, not getting enough sleep can throw off your hormones. So again, what I notice is like traveling or, I live in Michigan, it's Eastern time zone. So if I do some stuff on the West Coast and then now I'm like 3 hours behind and then you're up late and it's actually like 3 hours later than what it really is. And like your sleep schedule's messed up. There's a high percentage that my mood could be altered a little bit for a day or two or, like going through that. So like getting proper sleep. In a perfect world, you would go to sleep at the same time every single night. You would wake up at the same time every single morning, period. There's those 3 things, right? So this 4th one, this is the thing that helps me the most. And this is something that I like trying to work with my wife on, right? And it's talking, just fucking having someone to talk to and just get stuff out of your mind. Because usually it's like you feel a certain type of way and you have all these thoughts going, like racing thoughts, ideas and things going in your mind. You look crazy and it's frowned upon if you pace back and forth in your house and you're just having this all-out conversation with yourself. So it's like finding someone that you can call and talk to. My favorite thing to do is like team up 2 of those things, right? So I do walk and talks all the time. I love walking, and it's a form of exercise. It, releases the little miracle grow happy stuff in your brain. And then at the same time I talk. So I like to do walk and talks. Now, I even like to kill 3 birds with one stone because, social media is a thing. And then like you can go live, engage with your social media people, even if you don't feel that well, but you might just notice like talking to people takes your mind off things. Then the next thing that I like to do, I'll do a brain dump. For me, I always feel like a sense of like overwhelmed or I have too many things on my plate, I realize I can type really fast and I write really slow, like with a pen. So I used to just get a pad of paper and I would just start just writing stuff. And it would just end up being full, like a page and a half or 2 pages. And I keep writing and writing and writing. And I just start filling it up. And then it's like, I literally got the stuff out of my brain and I put it physically on this pad of paper. Now I get impatient because just the time it takes to like handwrite it. And I know like I'm only at like 2% of this brain dump right now. I have so much more. It's gonna take forever. And I get, so I'll go to a Google Doc and I just open it up, a blank one. And I just start thinking like, what was the problem, right? And then what are all the things that are on my mind right now? And I might be like, man, I still need to do this. So I just write, I still need to do this. You need to start this. You need to finish this. You need to start doing this. Things like that. Another little tip is to find accountability partners. There's a time in life where you may be the machine, right? And you don't need to rely or depend on anyone to do the things that you need to do. But usually you've had some, positive momentum to get to that state, because I've been there, but then I've also been to where I feel like that weak person with no discipline that I like depend on. Man, I need someone to hold me accountable with this YouTube stuff, man. I've let all these weeks go by and I need a friend to talk to. It's like, bro, you've done this for years with no friend or no accountability. It's like, well, I'm in a bad spot. There's nothing wrong with needing like a pick-me-up because all it is someone helping you get the ball moving again. If you picture like a train at a complete standstill, and if you just had one person getting behind it to start pushing it, like it's not gonna move. But maybe you get 10 people and 10 people together team up and they start pushing it. Now you got some momentum. You could probably have half of them leave and then now it starts going. It's easier to keep going, but it's harder to get it going. So if you feel down, depressed, you have anxiety, you realize that you've kind of fallen off, right? Man, you ain't been to the gym in a minute. You're not sticking to your routine. You're not sticking to your schedule. You're overwhelmed with all these bad emotions. There's nothing wrong with having an accountability partner for maybe each and every one of those things. So maybe you reach out to a friend and then you say, you know what, I've been thinking a lot and I know that my diet needs to get better. And I really want to challenge myself to eat better. Do you feel like you could eat possibly any better? And it's like, no one's eating perfect. And maybe you got the right friend that's cool. And then they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I need to too. And then you're like, do you want to start a challenge together? We'll see kind of like every day we'll check in and just, make sure that you haven't fallen off, make sure I haven't fallen off. Maybe every week we'll like start weighing ourselves and check in with each other. So like every morning you weigh yourself and boom, send a picture of the scale over. I'll weigh myself, send a picture of the scale over. It'll just keep it top of mind, right? Because what I've realized is the things that you don't track go bad, basically. Like, I don't know an intelligent way to say it off the top of my head, but basically like whatever things in life that you want to make progress on are the things that you track. If you want to get stronger in the gym, you track how much weight you lift every single workout. If you want to eat better or lose weight, you keep track of every single thing that goes in your mouth. If you want to save money, you keep track of every dollar that you spend. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the things that you want to make progress on are things that you need to track. And see, I'm at a place where I'm trying to make progress on anything and everything in my life. I'm on this self-improvement roller coaster. Back on topic. After you do the brain dump, you can get it all out there. And then the next step is you're going to get organized. So something I just did was I had a Google Doc and I just thought, what are all the things that I know I need to do this week? And I listed them all out. And it was a lot of stuff. And then it was kind of overwhelming because I'm like, bro, this is really unorganized. And so then I cleaned it up to where I was like, okay, what are all the things that I could categorize under stuff that I know I need to film? All right, let me move these in this group and put stuff I need to film. And then I like color coded it. And then I thought, what are all the things that I know I need to do that I'm overwhelmed with that have to do with like website stuff? So then I made a list of things and called it website stuff, color coded it. And so like I cleaned up the brain dump, I was the janitor on that John and I cleaned it up. So get organized because our brains like clarity. And so that's why it's good to have vision first. It's like having a vision for where you want to be. So then now you know that you're taking the steps to go towards that vision. It's like a reminder also, and it keeps you going because shit gets hard. It's like depression, anxiety. A lot of this wouldn't be possible if I hadn't educated myself. So like listening to this video is one step of educating yourself. But I've read, a handful of books from other people. So it's like there's someone else out there, maybe he was a doctor, and he dealt with a lot of people that had depression or anxiety. And so if you think about like when you're ignorant and you just don't have the knowledge, you feel these emotions and you actually don't even know what they are. And you don't even know what you're supposed to do. It seems like the end of the world. But once you educate yourself on it, it's like you're equipping yourself with the tools. You're adding tools to your mental toolbox. In an actual toolbox, you'll have like a hammer and a screwdriver. And like when you run into a situation and you're like, I need to hang something up. Like, aha, I have a hammer in my toolbox. I'm prepared for this. Oh shit, I need to screw something in. Aha, I have a screwdriver in my toolbox. I'm equipped for this. And that's how I look at information and education and wisdom. You're equipping yourself with the tools in your toolbox. So then the next time you deal with that situation, and maybe you read a book on depression, the next time you're in that situation, you feel these emotions and you're like, wait, I'm equipped for this. Let me go to my toolbox. What did they say to do? They said I would feel like this, and I do feel like this. They said that no matter how much I did not want to get active, that I should. And right now I feel zero desire to be active, but I'm going to, because I'm going to take their advice. They're smart. And then, you just focus on one day at a time, win the day. So you just got to think, if you're watching this and you feel that negative type of emotions right now, it's like, okay, how could I win the rest of the day and not have more negative things happen? Okay. And then you focus on tomorrow. I'm going to make it happen. And I think it's putting things on your schedule and setting a time for them to just increase the odds of the good things happening. If you're like, I know I should work out, I don't know when I'm gonna work out. Well, then look at your schedule and ask yourself, when do I have time? I'm gonna put it right here, I'm gonna put it right there, this time. I know if I live out this schedule that I just set for myself, the odds of me being happy are high. And so you just want the odds in your favor with anything that you can control. And just remember, the things that you can't control, just let go and let God. All right, you guys, this was another episode. Make sure you subscribe for more. There will be more. The plan is to drop these every week. The sponsor of these episodes is Royal Legacy Clothing. You can go to royallegacyclothing.com, use coupon code CRACK, and save 10% off. We greatly appreciate you guys' business. We're trying to do something big with Royal Legacy Clothing. I'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you.